So, welcome back. Today, before we take or study Unit 4, we have a handout on how to write the pros and the cons essay. For or against. Okay? Let's take a look at this handout. So, what's the pros and cons essay? A pros and cons essay is an essay that introduces a topic and describes the pros and cons of the subject of that topic, the positive points and the negative points, advantages and the disadvantages. Now, the topic or subject could be anything from owning a desk to running your own business. Is it good or bad? Does it have advantages or not? And so on. Pros and cons essay are ideal for giving readers insight into both sides of the subject. So you give the reader an idea about both sides of the subject. Now here are some tips on how to write a pros and cons essay. Take a look. First thing to do is to make a list of all the pros and all the cons, all the positive points and all the negative points, all the advantages and all the disadvantages. So you are preparing to write, you just write an outline, note, that includes all the advantages and all the disadvantages. You only list them. You don't write sentences. Then, number 2, think of a title for your pros and cons essay. The title can include the words pros and cons, as in the pros and cons of owning a home, and your own home, or can be titled something like gun control, yes or no, banning smoking, yes or no. Okay? The title should clearly identify the topic of your paper and indicate that the essay will take a pros and cons approach. So from the introduction, from the topic, or the thesis sentence rather, the reader is going to know that you are writing this type of essay from the beginning. 3. Write an opening that introduces the topic of your pros and cons essay. The introduction should give a brief overview. So you start in a general way and then you narrow down into the thesis statement. So the introduction should give a brief overview of the subject and present a thesis statement that tells your audience your goal and what you intend to prove or disprove by the end of the essay. In the body of the essay, you should present the pros and the cons, advantages and disadvantages. So usually you would have 2 paragraphs. One for the pros, another one for the cons. Are you following? So your whole essay will be a 4-paragraph essay. Introduction, pros, cons, and then the conclusion. So the body of the essay should present the pros and cons. Try to present the argument for pros first, start with the advantages first, and then the negative points. Then follow it with the argument for the cons. What about the conclusion? Lastly, with both sides, write a powerful conclusion. Make a determination. Give us your opinion. What do you think? There are more positive points or there are more negative points? Are you with the advantages or the disadvantages? So remember, in a conclusion we have, let's say, 3 elements. First, you repeat the thesis statement in the introduction. And then you briefly summarize the main points in your body. And then you add an element of your opinion. In my opinion, I believe that the disadvantages. Phones off, please. Switch off your phones, forget about them. Now, let's take an exercise. But before I show you the outline, there's a presentation that I'd like you to see. This is a topic from EL112, but very relevant to our topic here. So take a look here. If someone says that childhood, being a child, is the best time in life, some of you might agree, some of you might not agree. Of course, childhood as a stage in our lives has both pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. So let's take a look at some ideas. So these two animals or bulls are fighting each other, like the pros and the cons. So what pros, what advantages are there for that stage of our life, being a child? If you are a child, there are very few responsibilities. Would you like me to switch off the light? Clear? Alright, so very briefly. There are very few responsibilities if you are a child. You don't have to go to work or pay the bills, electricity, water, or do the shopping, cooking or cleaning. Which means that as a child, you have plenty of free time. If you have plenty of free time, to do what? Watch TV, play on the computer, go out with friends, and play sports. What? Sleep more. Yeah, we wish. Another advantage or point in favor of childhood is that are the less cost for children. If you are a child, you will pay in public transport, trains, buses, even airline tickets. If you are a child, you will pay less. Cinemas, you will pay less. Sports centers, you will pay less as well. So these are what? Pros. What about the cons now? The disadvantages. You need to spend all or most of your day at school. Doing what? Studying, doing homework, and taking exams. This is an advantage to this stage of life. That most of your day is spent studying, doing homework, and taking exams. Another disadvantage of childhood is that you are not being allowed to do whatever you have to ask permission from your father and mother. And there is the problem of pocket money as well. So things are still expensive. Even if you are a child, things are still expensive, but limited pocket money. So there isn't enough pocket money. Your father and mother give you just a limited amount of money. So these are what? The pros and cons of being a child. Now I would like to write an essay about the pros and cons of childhood. Before you do that, could you please switch on the light? Before you do that, of course here on page 2, you have the outline. All the points that we have discussed. But when you write the sentences, I would like you to use some of these expressions on page 3. Useful expressions and linking words. Now these expressions are used for listing points, for listing the advantages or the disadvantages, adding more points, or contrasting. Contrasting means you give an opposite idea or a different idea. So you need to use words like, firstly, one advantage is, another advantage is, a further advantage. The same goes for disadvantages. You need to use these connectors and these linking words. When you come to the conclusion, these expressions will help you. So you signal the last paragraph, the conclusion, using expressions like in conclusion, on balance, all things considered. And remember, you need an element of what in your conclusion? An element of your opinion. What do you think about this topic? So you use expressions like, it is my belief or opinion that, I believe, I feel, I think, I'm convinced that, I'm inclined to believe, I agree with, or I disagree with. Okay, so our first thesis was what? That childhood is the best time in someone's life or in a human's life. Do you agree or not? So you can mention in the conclusion whether you agree, I agree with this because, but you need to explain your opinion. Okay? I agree. But very briefly, remember, in the conclusion, we need to be brief. Alright? So now I'm going to give you 15 minutes. I need you to write. Okay, write an essay. You have all the expressions that you need, and you have the ideas over here. So you have the ideas that you need for the prose and the ideas that you need for the prose. So please spend 50 minutes. Write down the essay. Yes? Children, you have it. Don't you have the handout? That's in the handout. Page 2. Childhood. Page 2 of the handout. Do you find it? Childhood is the best time of your life. عهد فيصل تركيا عبيد وضحى عنوان فاطمة صالح تهاني سالم هديل جابر إيمان فؤاد عائشة فيصل مها مسعد مها مسعد. What's your name? Jawad. Second time, huh? Now you don't forget. Last time you came half an hour late. What's your name, please? Tahani, please be on time. Tahani Salim al-Mahi. Asma Ma'mar. نجاح ناهي جواهر جمانة نهاية أحمد، نغم علي، نغم، حفصة ناصر، حفصة سليمان، خلود صالح، هيا رحم، إيمان فلاح، إيمان، رنا عز الدين، خديجة حسين، ريما حسين، أنوار صالح، دلال علي، شيماء محمد، خولة، دلال مهدي، دلال علي، دلال مهدي، خولة منصور، دلال مهدي، منال فهد مطيري، منال، رشا عبد الله، رشا، You got a copy of the handout? No. You have to write essay. Essay. Yes. No phones, please. I will tell her. Okay, what's your name again? Ibrahim? Which section was the commission? Okay, what day, what time? Today? 11. Okay, remember your number? Your university ID number. Yeah, being a child. You're welcome. maybe it's a practice for next week.
Yes, very well. So we stand up. We have a practice. We're writing an essay. Okay, with that, page number 2. Just that, just a practice. Okay, I need to stop you here. Whatever you have reached, I need you to read me samples of what you have written so far. Okay? I'll try to give you feedback instantly. So who would like to read the beginning of her
essay. The introduction. Brave one? Yes? We all think you are going to make mistakes and I'm going to correct them, so don't worry. Yes? Very good, but not all people agree. Okay? And then you can add childhood has both advantages and disadvantages. Very good. So general sentence to introduce your topic, and then you move on to the thesis. Yes, we would like to the introduction. This is just the introduction again. Yes? Yes, sir? Most important. Okay? Okay, you don't need to explain that you are going to start right away. I am going to show you, I am going to tell you. Don't write such sentences at all. Write immediately. Okay? From the beginning, from the connector, I know that you are writing about advantages or disadvantages. You don't need to mention this in the introduction. And you need to be more specific about the thesis. And you need to hear the words pros and cons, or advantages and disadvantages in the introduction. I need a clear thesis statement. Being a child has advantages and disadvantages, pros and cons. Yes, Ms. Bilal? Goat, right? Good. Very good. Okay. Yes? Very good. Excellent. But the first sentence again. Well, not everyone agrees, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have written about advantages and disadvantages. Be just neutral. Okay, be neutral. So say, some people say that childhood is the best time of our life. Okay? Just be neutral. Yes? Not yes. Another introduction, yes, sir. However, it has. However, it has. You don't need all the steps, both of them later. We know that. Okay? Because in this next paragraph, you are going to start with the advantages. Okay? Yes, the advantages now, paragraph. Leisure time, just like free time. Very good. That's enough. Another paragraph about the advantages. Anyone? Yes? What is more? So this is the beginning. No. Start with your paragraph where you talk about advantages. There are few or very few or something. Instead of saying like, if it's a new sentence, just say, for example. You don't have to go to work. That's all. Yes, John. You don't have to. You don't have to clean. or even your slowness. Very good. But instead of what is more, you can use also, moreover, and so on. Anyone else would like to read the advantages paragraph? Yes? Being a child has a lot of advantages. Being a child has. Very good. Let's move on to the disadvantages now. The cons. Who would like their paragraphs? Yes? Very good. But my advice, use more connectors. So you say, one disadvantage is, and then you cite an example. So for example, something else happens. Okay? So for example, something else happens. Alright, in the middle of the sentence, use words like such as, because we know that these are examples of your main idea. What's the paragraph? Paragraph is main idea, and then you have supporting sentences. Now the supporting sentences are either details, explanations, or examples. And how do you introduce examples? You need a word, connecting word, just like, for example, such as, like, right? What about conclusion? Who has reached the conclusion and would like to share her conclusion with us? Who has written a conclusion? Yes, right. Old days are not going to come back again. Alright, very good. That's excellent. So let's revise. If I want to write a pros and cons essay, first I need to list or plan ahead what are the advantages and disadvantages of this topic. And then in the introduction, I need to tell the reader that this essay is what is a pros and cons essay. So from the beginning, I understand that you will be discussing advantages separately and disadvantages separately. Okay? In the conclusion, you make a decision. Which side are you on? Are you with the advantages? Do you agree or do you disagree? Is that clear? Any questions in general? Alright. So let's begin with Unit 4, please. Could you please open your student's book on page 34. Page 34. Ready? So, take a look at the title first. The title of Unit 4 is Nothing But Truth. Because this can be understood in both ways. Either you tell the truth, or you tell everything except for the truth. So you tell lies. So in lies usually people use the negative, right? So if you ice cream, say that you don't like ice cream, or the other way around. So let's take a look at these sentences in the set-view grammar part. We want to make the sentences negative. The first one is done as a model. So I agree with you. The negative could be I disagree with you, or I don't agree with you. What about the rest? Who would like to do number 2? Number 2. Yes? Or I don't think you are right. Very good. Number 3? Number 3, yes, Ms. Delal. I didn't tell her to go home. Or I told her to go. I told her to stay. Okay. Number 4. Number 4. Anyone? Yes, Ms. Rana. I hope not. I hope not. But the opposite. All right. So 5. I knew everybody in the school. I knew everybody in school. Yes, Ms. Wadha. Ms. Wadha, yes. Very good. Or? Yeah, very good. I knew nobody. 6. Number 6. Yes, Ms. Rana. Ms. Rana? Asma, sorry. Or better to use the perfect. The present perfect. I haven't done my homework yet. I haven't done my homework yet. Yes? Good. Or you don't have to. You don't have to get a visa. You're allowed to go. Yes, see? My sister. Huh? Give it a chance again. So my sister. Very good. Very good. Doesn't like shopping either. Very good. Now, at the same time, take a look at this presentation. Here we are going to tackle questions, negative, direct questions, and indirect questions. So take a look at this presentation. So, how to form questions. So here we have sentences. So, the first sentence. The first Diana conspiracy site. Conspiracy, when you don't believe the official explanation. You think there are hidden reasons behind an event. The first Diana conspiracy site, website on the internet, appeared on the internet in Australia. Can you ask a question? Can you form a question about the sentence? Where? Very good. Can you start? Yes, Ms. Haya? Appear on. Appear on. Can we ask another question? Yeah, it could be with who. Question with who. Now, take a look at these examples. Okay, of questions. These are some of the possibilities, but not all the possibilities. So the first Diana conspiracy site appeared on the internet. Where? In Australia. So question with where? Where did the first Diana conspiracy site appear on? On because of the internet. But when you're talking about Australia, appear in Australia. Are you following the difference? Appear on the internet. Appear in the country. Yes. So now the Princess of Wales isn't dead after all. What's the question? Say yes, no question. Is Diana, Princess of Wales, dead after all? This is Princess, not Prince. The photographs taken by the do not include any of the moon's night stars. These photographs do not include the stars. Do the photographs taken by the astronauts include any of the moon's night sky? So say yes, no, question. The moon rocks have been subjected. What sense is this? What kind of passive? Very good. Present? Perfect. Passive. Good. So, what's the question? What have the moon rocks been subjected to? So, remember, the question is half the answer. The question is half the answer. So you need to pay attention to the original tense in the sentence, the original words, and use them in your answer. John Kennedy Jr. Jr. is short for Junior. Means there were two in the family named Kennedy, or Yeah, John. So GR, or sometimes GR means junior, younger. What SR means senior. We all this is fine. Senior means older than the other one. So John Kennedy Jr. was on July 17th, 1999. You have a time expression. So when was John Kennedy Jr. killed? When was he killed? Last one. John Kennedy Jr. was murdered by Clinton supporters because he planned to stand against Hillary Clinton in the New York Senate race. So you have either a question with why, you need the reason, or who. Why was John Kennedy murdered by Clinton supporters? Because he was till the end of the sentence. Or who murdered John Kennedy Jr.? Clinton supporters. Okay? So let's go on. Now you have two types of questions. Direct questions, which begin with WH words, or yes/no questions, do, is, are. And we have another kind of question, which is indirect. Indirect questions begin with expressions like I don't know, I wonder, I have no idea, tell me. So take a look at these examples. Where do you live is a direct question. Indirectly, I don't know where you live. Changes here. Okay? What is she doing? Direct question. I wonder what she is. Indirect question. Why did he go to India? Direct. I have no idea why he went to India. Indirect. Now can you change the following sentences into indirect questions? Of course you can use tell me, he doesn't know, I'm not sure, I didn't understand. Can you try? Try changing the question, these are direct questions, into indirect questions. Yes, Ms. Della? Conspiracy. Very good. Another example? Yes? Appear on or appear in, you use on. What about this one? Diana. Yes, Ms. Asma? Good, but you change the question. You could say, is dead after all. I wonder if Diana is dead after all. Yes, Ms. Della? Dead after all, or we could say dead or not. Dead or not. Anyone else? What about these questions? These are easy. What have the moon rocks been subjected to? I have no idea. Let's say you start with I have no idea. Can you make an indirect question with I have no idea? I don't understand. Good, but better to use I have no idea. I have no idea what the moon rocks have been subjected to. Are you following me? Okay, what about when was John Kennedy Jr. killed? I wonder when was John Kennedy Jr. killed. So let's take a look now. So these are some of the answers. Tell me where the first Diana conspiracy site appeared on. I wonder where the first Diana conspiracy site appeared in. I don't know whether Diana, Princess of Wales, is dead after all. Do you notice whether the photographs taken by the astronauts include any of the moon's night sky or not? Yes? Yeah, it could be in the choices. So you could have a direct question, and you need to change it into indirect question. Yeah, don't change the structure of the words, okay? Don't use words from your own. But it doesn't matter because you You will have choices. You will have A, B, C, and D. You only have to choose one of them. Okay? So it's not an open-ended question. You only need to choose the right answer. No phones, please. Rule number 3. Okay? So, I have no idea what the Mohawks have been subjected to. Do you know when John Kennedy Jr. was killed? I wonder why John Kennedy Jr. was murdered by Clinton supporters. I have no idea who killed John Kennedy Jr. So these are ways to change direct questions into indirect questions. Remember the expressions. I wonder, tell me, I have no idea, and so on. Do you think? Okay? So, now let's go into the reading part on page 38. Page 38. These are not. These are this week. We'll post them on LLS as soon as possible. Okay? So, please open page 38. We have some reading text about conspiracy theories. So what are conspiracy theories? Let's take a look here. So take a look, please. These are famous people. Okay? And they have accidents or whatever, and they have died. Now the official Najah? With Najah? No points at all. Yeah, okay. Just stay with us. Okay? So, these are famous people, and this is the official explanation of how they died. Official means what the government said, the official thing. So, let's take a look. J.F. Kennedy Jr. Not the senior. The senior was the President of the United States. He was killed. He was murdered, assassinated. But this is his son. This is Junior. Okay? And Diana Spencer, of course, is Princess Diana. And then you have a famous singer from the Beatles band, John Lennon. So can you match them? How did they die? What's the official explanation? Yes, Ms. Dalal, the first one? Alright, what's your choice? I caught you by surprise, huh? Diana, that's the easiest one. So Diana, how did she die? By a car crash. The Princess of Wales was killed in a car crash. Good. What? Yes? Crash, very good. So he had an airplane accident. Good. Yes? Assassinated, murdered. Okay, so J.F. Kennedy was assassinated. And the last one would be obvious. John Lennon, the singer, was what? The former Beatle was shot by a fan, someone who loved his music. And here are the answers. Okay? Now what if someone doesn't believe the official explanation? Doesn't believe the government? If someone doesn't believe these explanations and thinks there are secret explanations, it makes him a believer in conspiracy. So what are conspiracy theories? Conspiracy theories are explanations of events by people who do not believe the official explanation. They don't think Diana died in a car accident. They don't believe that John Kennedy Jr. died in an airplane crash. They don't believe them. They have their own explanation. So they believe that there was some secret conspiracy behind the official explanation. So the government is hiding something. Okay? These are conspiracy theories. Alright. In our reading, we have three conspiracy theories. One about the death of Diana. The next one is about Apollo moon landing. Did they land on the moon or not? Some people do not believe that in 1969 people landed on the moon. And the last one is the death of John F. Kennedy Jr., the son, and not the father who was the president. You're not going to read all of them. I'll divide into groups. So please, this part of the class until, what's your name please? Hadith. So this side of the class, you are going to read about the first conspiracy theory, which is about Diana. Here in the middle, up until Miss Sabla at the back here, I know. We are going to read about the moon landing, just the moon landing, and the rest of you will read the last one, which is about John F. Kennedy Jr. Okay? So, before you begin reading, always, when you begin to read, you need to read the questions first. You need to know the task first. So I need to give you two tasks. Take a look at the exercises and the questions in exercise number 4. So we have questions 1 to 5 about the event. So question number 1 says, when and what was the event? What was it? Car accident? Airplane crash? When did it happen? 2. How many theories are mentioned? Conspiracy theories, explanations, other than the official one. 3. What proof, evidence is given? 4. What reasons are suggested for hiding the true facts? Why is the government hiding the truth, according to them? And 5. People, individuals, who are mentioned in relation with events. This is the first task. I need you to figure out answers to these questions. The second task is take a look at the vocabulary words. Here you have 3 boxes. One for Diana, the other one for the moon landing, and the third one for JFK Jr. Now, you need to find words in the text to replace those in italics. So you will find words in the text that have the same meaning as these ones in italics. Okay, is that clear? So you just need to find 5 words each. Okay? So how about I give you 15 minutes and then we'll discuss the reading. Okay, so 15 minutes to read. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the first writing test. Just remind me, I'm going to talk about the first writing test next week. Okay, what to expect. Yes, in class. It will be in class. can work together to find out the missing words or the words to be replaced with vocabulary words. You can work together to do the vocabulary work. Okay, work in pairs. But you need to find the words. they think that she and she planned for this in order to live freely away. Okay? What about the moon landing? When did it happen? What's the official explanation? Landing on the moon. What is the event and when did it happen? Moon landing. Yes, Miss Khaldoun? Khaldoun. Yes. Good. Astronauts, we call them astronauts, they landed on the moon in 1969. What is this? This is the official explanation. Are there conspiracy theories other than the official? What are they? Yes, Ms. Haya? Alright, so where did it take place? All this footage. Okay, where did it take place? In a film? Very good, in a film studio. So one conspiracy theory says that in 1969 they didn't land on the moon. All of it was filmed in a film studio. This is one of the conspiracy theories. Just one of them. You want to leave us? We'll be very sad. Okay, go ahead. Yes? So officially, he was killed in an aircraft or airplane crash. What are the conspiracy theories? Okay, can you tell me just one of them? They'll come back to you. Again? Clinton. Very good. So one conspiracy theory that people who supported Hillary Clinton killed her. Yes? In the plane. So they think that a certain terrorist planned a bomb on his plane. Okay, are there any other theories? Yes? Good. Very good. Alright. So, let's go back to our vocabulary words. Okay? We had some words in the text. So let's start with Diana. Diana, number one says, the huge number of sites is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yes? Very good. Breathtaking. Breathtaking is just like absolutely amazing. Number two, the florist. You know florist? Florist, someone who buys and sells flowers. So the florist devised a clever but wicked plot. Devised. What is it? Devised. Close. Devised. Thought up. To think of something. Okay? Up. Number two, Diana. Thought up. Instead of devised. Alright, something which is wicked. You know wicked? Cruel. Very cruel. Very cruel event or explanation. It's still in Diana's text. Something that is cruel, wicked, what do we call it? Text. What do you think? We're still number two. Did you find it? Fiendish. Could you read the sentence? Who would like to read it from here? Yeah? What is the one? It was a fiendish? What? Very good. So, fiendish. Okay? Fiendish means wicked. Very cruel. Very cruel. Three. Start crush was carefully planned trick. A carefully planned trick. Carefully planned trick was what? Yes, I know, but I need the exact words in the reading text. Yes, Khadija? Elaborate hoax. Elaborate hoax. Very well planned. Hoax, just like a trick. Elaborate, is this 3 or 4? 3. Elaborate. Hoax. Hoax means a trick. Those who read about Diana can find it. So, enough with these 3. What about the moon landing? Your turn now. Okay? Moon landing. Number 1 says, rumors. You know, rumors, something which is not correct. People pass it on. So, rumors have been going round for years. Yes? Khawla? Circulating. Going round between people, they have been circulating. Circulating. Number 2. The US flag is seen blowing and there is no wind on the moon. Blowing. Fluttering. F-L-U-T-T-E-R-I-N-G. Fluttering. The flag was seen fluttering, although there is no wind on the moon. So, the US flag is seen blowing and there is no wind. Is there another word for wind in the text? Breeze. Very good. There is a difference between wind and breeze. Breeze is more gentle. So, breeze, B-R-E-E-Z-E. Breeze. 3. A fantastic exhibition. Fantastic exhibition. Array. A stunning array. So, what's array? When you put things in order for show to people. Okay? Array. Array. Alright. Now another 3 from JFK Jr. Number 1 says, over here, there are many strange theories. Strange theories. Bizarre. B-I-Z-A-R-R-E. Bizarre, just like strange. There are many strange theories. One of the craziest, wildest. Number 2, explosives, bombs. Explosives were stuck. Viewed, from the word viewed. And 3, the plane hit violent air movement. Hit. Ran into, just like hit. Air movement, violent air movement. Next to it, ran into turbulence. Turbulence, when we have air movement and the plane starts to move. Okay? Alright. Now, could you please go on and open page 42. Vocabulary. Saying the opposite. Here you have the blue box, the caution box, where you have antonyms. Antonyms. You know antonyms means the opposite word. Something is either possible or impossible. Probable or improbable. So let's read from the caution box. Compare these sentences. Which antonyms are used? Which sounds better in context, in the sentence, within the sentence? Which one is better? So this first sentence. Some theories are plausible. Plausible means they are probable. We can believe them. So some theories are plausible, but others are implausible. Is this sentence better? Or some theories are plausible, but others are ridiculous? Which one do you prefer? Actually, in general usage, it's better to use a word and an antonym instead of using prefixes. You know prefixes like m, n, ir, il to make the opposite of the word. We'll have some examples here. Okay? So in general, it's better if you know the antonym, the opposite of the word, rather than use a prefix and make it the opposite.
So, for example, in number 2, you have a number of words. What's the opposite of each one of them? Believable. Number 2. Unbelievable. Honest. I want with the prefix. I want to use the prefix. Dishonest. Honest? Dishonest. D-I-S. Reasonable. Very good. Irreasonable. Okay? Is it? No, it's not reasonable. It's responsible. So the opposite would be irresponsible. Irresponsible. Legal. So I-L. Illegal. Credible. Incredible. Probable. Improbable. Just like possible, impossible. Okay? So I don't want an antonym with a prefix. I want the exact opposite of that word. So take a look here at exercise number 1. So we have the word and we have the antonym. Fake. What's the antonym? Genuine, real, or authentic. Like as a verb. Dislike, hate, or can't stand. Huge, what else? Big, what else? Large, and so on. Let's find the antonyms for the rest of them. You can work together for 3 minutes. Write the opposite, the antonyms for these words. Work together and write some of the antonyms for these words. Don't forget, next week is the first writing task. You have this in time. Okay? Okay, can you have a seat for 2 minutes? For 2 minutes? Okay, your friend needs to leave. Just a minute, I'll just break you in. Okay? Can I have your attention, please? Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Because your friend needs to go, I need to explain something about the writing task. Next week you will have your first writing task. Okay? It will be for 50 minutes and it will have 10 marks. It has to do with the reading text or the topics in general that you have encountered in units 1 to 4. So any theme could be in the vocabulary, workbook, or the reading text. In units 1, 2, 3, and 4 could be a possible writing topic. What advantages of tourism? It could be an experience you have with dangerous, frightening. It could be general. All of them share the same structure. Have a well-organized essay. Introduction, body, and conclusion. You need to take good care of editing your essay for grammar, spelling, and use some of the examples or grammar points or vocabulary items that you have encountered so far in units 1 to 4. Of course, if we ask you to write about a certain topic, it would be useful to you to know the words that were in that unit, which are related to the topic. Are you following me? So, for example, if you need to talk about the positive things and negative things of tourism, you'll find all the vocabulary items and expressions that you need in the unit. So you need to go through the unit, read it very carefully, okay, and this will help you in your presentation or task next week. Okay? So, go on please. Do the task number 1.
50 minutes, yeah. 50 minutes. Alright. Happiness. What about happiness? Sadness or unhappiness? It's not miserable. Miserable is an adjective. We need the same part of speech. So happiness is a noun. I need a noun antonym. So misery, sorrow, unhappiness. Okay? The opposite. What about guilty? Not guilty. Innocent or blameless. Safe, something which is safe. Unsafe or dangerous, risky. Admit. Admit means you say the truth. The opposite is deny. Sincere, someone who is sincere, always tells the truth. Huh? What's the opposite? Insincere. Insincere or dishonest. Dishonest or insincere. Success, failure, disaster. Mature, someone who is mature. Okay? What's the opposite? Child, young, or with using a prefix, immature. Okay, just like possible, impossible, mature, immature. Encourage, discourage. Kind, generous, good or unkind, ungenerous, mean, tight. Appear, disappear, or vanish. Disappear or vanish. Now, tiny, big, large, huge. Chubby is for people. Like chubby is for people. Children as well. Alright, take a look here please. I don't know if you access this on a regular basis. This is the website for your book. Good for preparation. If you go to the website, you'll find every unit in your book. So you have for everyday English, grammar, vocabulary, and a test builder as well. So just before you can choose the units you want, 1 to 6, and have an entire test that you can practice with. I think there are some extra things here. Use the CD, but I think here you have something which is extra. Website EL112. I'll just leave it so that you can copy it later. But let's do this exercise. It's a negative exercise. So choose the correct answer. What do you think? Think I have to use the mouse here over here? So, what do you think? Do you like ice cream or don't you like ice cream? Do you like ice cream? How unusual. Huh? What's the usual thing? That people like ice cream. So you ask for the negative question. What about this one? I don't think he will agree, or I think he won't agree. I don't think. We'll see. We'll see. You check your answers later on. Is Judy coming on Saturday? I hope not, or I don't hope so. I hope not. If you want to agree, you would say, I hope so. If you want her to come. Alright. 4. Any of the photos came out well, or none of the photos came. None. I'd love to go out with you, but not tonight or not tonight. Not tonight. We didn't have enough time to finish the test, or hasn't got enough time to finish the test. We didn't have. Let's check our answers now. The score is 5 or 6. So you know the mistake. Which is what? Not I think he won't. I don't think. You need the auxiliary verb. I don't think. He doesn't think. And so on. Okay? Now one quick vocabulary exercise from Unit 4 about the antonyms. Think about it. Here we have numbers number of words or expressions. What's the opposite of each one? Live music. Live music. Recorded. A clear conscience. Conscience? Yes, so a clear conscience, you didn't make any mistakes. No? A what? A guilty conscience? We'll check that. Fair hair, the color of your hair. Dark, which is D. Light sleeper. A heavy sleeper. So it's A. Tough meat for eating. Very tough. Tender. Tough. So which is E. A hard question. Easy question. So let's check. Voila. Very good. So you got 6 out of 6. Okay? I need you to use this as much as you can. Use the serum. Okay? And do the workbook. All the answer keys for the student book and the workbook are available on the website. Okay? Any questions before you? Which presentation? Inshallah. I'll upload it, inshallah. Yes. Any questions? You are free to go. Send me an email, okay, or call me on my phone number, 243. On Saturday. Okay, no problem. What's your name? Khaldoun. Okay, inshallah. I'll try to remember that, okay? Just remind me on Saturday. Okay? 243-94398. 94398. Yeah, but not call me in the evening or on Sunday morning. I'll tell you which sections are available. Or better, go to SIF, check the whole schedule, and go to any girls section that you like to, or it's available. If you miss Saturday's class. Okay. You can't make it on Saturday. All right, okay. If you can't make it on Thursday, you want to come on Saturday. Come on Thursday. Come on Thursday. Okay. Yeah, for girls on Thursday and Thursday. Just come on the phone. Just come. No, because you're not registered. I've only registered those who are present. Okay? Those who are registered. Just send me an email with your name and student number. Okay? Just tell me that. I'll check the attendance for you. Okay? Don't worry. Check. If you're late, done. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Why were you late? You are welcome. Just no move. Half an hour. The whole lecture is 1.5. Yes, I know. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. Because you've already entered the room. Remember, there are no place for attendance. If you do attend, it's for you. For your own good. But I won't bother. No. Your grades are for writing task 1, writing task 2, midterm and final. 4 things. Okay? But this doesn't mean that you will stay in Hadiyah and not come here. Okay, so I need to see you next week, inshallah. But see you on time. Because it's distracting. The student comes in the 10 minutes. Okay, there's the practice student. Answer the student as well. Because the minute you open the door, all of them take a look at them. See, that's why the system coming like that. You're right. Yes. ها؟ يلا بالبركة بالبركة بالبركة. Okay, no مشكلة. Then we'll arrange it. So you just tell me when are you going to be absent, for how long, okay, and I'll tell you what to do. Okay, inshallah.